back to another market update. It's been a few months since we've done this.
We haven't really done anything since.
There's been no video production around here whatsoever, other than the Lofty Lender podcast, which you should probably go check out if you haven't gotten those emails.
Yeah. And there's some reels, but there's no real good content consistently. So
yeah. So here's our market update. It's we're looking at April 2024, just walking into it here. And things are moving everywhere, Charlie. There's more movement than I think I've seen since I got into this office in 2019.
Yeah, the market in general always is moving. We got spring coming in, but there's just a lot. I mean, in like a lion, out like a lamb. I don't care how you look at March. There is so much in March that I'm excited for April. I'm ready for it.
There just seemed like there was a lot of different income types out there. There's a lot of, unfortunately, you've all had to find a second job. I mean, the economy's not been great on people, and having those part-time jobs, trying to figure out a way to use those part-time jobs. You may have had it just for 6 months or 8 months and trying to figure out if we can use it. All that kind of stuff has really been, it's been fun.
It has been fun, and I'm starting to have all my hair be the same color. I think the challenge with that, though, Kyle, is everybody thinks when we say that we're really dealing with just one type of income or one type of person, and we're not. We're seeing high-income earners have job changes because they're looking for different dynamics, or they're getting cut. I have some friends that have gotten cut, and they found ways to bridge the gap, but they can't find the jobs they want at that pay rate, or some of them just can't find a job at all. And so it's low income with no skill, it's high income with high skill, and it's everything in between. People who make commissions aren't making as much. People who had overtime. This is my biggest thing, is the overtime that if you're hourly, you know what your employer's always allowed, and maybe it gave you 3 or 4 hours a week that's overtime. That's a lot of extra, just slush cash, which is great. But if you lose that, and then your employer is now 37 hours, and that's full time.
Yeah.
And that's going around a lot. You don't lose benefits. The employer's not having to cut back and lay people off, which is great. But the employer is not giving those 40 hours, and the employee is not ready for that. And there's a lot of us that we don't look at our checkbook all the time. It's just, money's available. Yep. Or we swipe the credit card and the balances are going up. And not to squirrel, but I mean, we got credit card balances and the miscellaneous debt going above mortgage balances. That is scary. Income down, debt's up. Yep. That's what makes my hair gray.
And to your point about the 37 hours, to us, even when I was working a W-2 job, they came out and said, this week you're going to work extra 40, you're going to work 45 hours. We're just making it mandatory. Everybody works 45 hours a week. And then they scale it back down to 40. And now in some cases, they're scaling it down to 36 or 37. Well, to you as the employee, that's normal. Okay. Like that's what the boss says. That's what's going to be, that's fine. I'm just going to continue living my life. Well, according to Fannie Freddie, they're saying 37 hours. Yeah. Well, you're no longer a consistent wage earner. You're not making 40 hours. And now there's suddenly, you got to have a 2-year average of this. It's like
everything on underwriting is risk. And that's why I think everything they're being so picky. They're being mean. Appraisals, underwriting. They're not. The government's intent is good. They always mean well. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. They want to make sure no one's going to fail. That's a great initiative. But when you have the volatility of what do I work? When do I work? I'm heavy. I'm light. It scares the underwriting platform. And the platform is designed to no one's going to lose their house. The neighborhood's not going to lose. The institution's not going to lose. Everybody's a win-win, which we know that doesn't happen. But that's a great goal. But it just kicks you in the shins when you start to have that volatility. And on our side, proving that is horribly tricky.
Yep.
And that's what pisses everybody off. And we're not here to do it. We try to make this as balanced as possible, but when you hear horror stories, normally it's the little stuff that gets you. It's not the big stuff.
Yep. Well, not to get too deep on that, so switching gears a little bit, what are we thinking about rates this year? Where are rates going to go?
I love this conversation. And I think we've been pretty consistent. There's always going to be improvements. There's going to be days that it didn't improve, got worse. But overall, we don't want to see these big dips. A lot of people have advertised it, and we've been a little cautious saying, one, we shouldn't plan on it.
Yep.
If you plan on it, then you're just going to have your dreams crushed because you're going to wait for that. Well, that's no good. Mm-hmm. Our investments, we don't want to see the low rates come again because then our investments are going to take a hit.
Yeah, totally.
We want to see little improvements, which we've seen. I mean, we're seeing low to mid sixes. We're a month or two ago, we were seeing high 6s, 7s. And before that, we were seeing
Yeah.
high sevens. So we are sitting pretty good. Could we see better? Great. But we don't want to plan on it. So I don't think we should plan on anything getting better. I think we will. It's just when, because there's just such a mess of international, local. Again, the government's trying to help and monitor what the Fed's doing. They're lawyers. They're not economists. They're guessing. And there's just a lot of movement that no one can predict.
And I heard a statistic that said that if there's a 1% drop in interest rates, there's going to be 5 million more people in the United States that are able to afford a house. And so I'm hearing from a lot of people that are saying, well, I want to get my finances in order. I want to sit this one out. I'm going to wait till home prices come down. Don't think that's going to happen in a while, by the way.
Not here.
At least, yeah. Right. But they're waiting for something. Really, they're waiting to make it so that it's better. Well, unfortunately, I think that home prices are going to go up when those rates come down because there's going to be more people that are able to afford it. And if you go back to 2020, 2021, when there were 17 offers going in on a house, I just talked to an agent who said there's 3 offers going in on a house, and it's not a very big house. But there's constantly multiple offers going in on quality homes, and that's already happening right now. Spring is just starting to sprung, if you will, and it's not going to make it any better when rates come down.
No, I mean if you get lucky, but again, timing that, it's almost impossible. It's just like anything. You can't time what's perfect. When you want to go on family vacation, somebody gets sick, and hopefully they don't. But I've heard so many stories of delayed vacations. You don't want to delay the house buy. No. Now, no one should be jumping in to buy the house just because. It's got to make sense, but you got to be reasonable expectations. You got to make sure the budget matches, and then just be ready because there's going to be a fair house that pops up. It might need new carpet. It might need new paint. It might need new front door. But there's just a lot of volatility, and there's so many people that want those homes, and we're lucky. Iowa's been very, very magnetic to bring people in, and it's awesome to see, but it is driving prices up, and it's a negative if you're trying to get into a house. But when you're in the house, now you get that appreciation. A lot of places that don't have as vibrant of a community, for employment and everything else, you're not seeing as much appreciation. We're seeing a lot, especially the first and second time homebuyer price points. They're hard to come by. You just can't build a decent square foot house with decent materials for under $350,000-ish. And first time homebuyers typically aren't above that price point. Even second times, that's kind of at it. It's hard. It's a great opportunity to get in. You got to get in.
Which is why we stress the importance of coming to us and talking to us about your situation, right? Because let's figure out what makes sense for you. And while you may say you want to wait, maybe it's time to do it now. And we have those conversations with people. And I've had a customer actually just comes to mind right now that she said she's going to wait until August before she purchases. And I explained to her this topic exactly. And she said, I don't really have any pressure to move, but I kind of understand what you're saying. I really need to get over there because by August, who knows what's going to be the market? And maybe it will be better, maybe it won't be better. Who knows? But at least right now, there's not as much competition.
Right.
So take advantage of it.
If you buy and you're buying something that you can stay in, this sounds a little bit bad, but go with me. You don't have to buy at the perfect price.
Right.
You want to buy the stock at the lowest and sell at the highest. How often does that happen? Not very often.
Not for me at all.
I got lucky once. But I mean, you'll take it when you can get it, but you've got to just get in. And if you can buy a house that you can stay in for at least 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, the longer you stay, it doesn't really matter what you bought it for. I mean, I correlate it to when we put improvements into our house. If you think you're going to get money value, 100% or more out of what you do to the house, you're going to be disappointed. I mean, we do a lot of stuff that's personal preference. I don't detail my car to necessarily keep the value. I detail my car so I don't want to buy a new car, and I have my shiny car, but I don't have to have the payment go up. I don't have to, spend that big chunk to get a new shiny thing. A lot of stuff on homes is maintenance. And then we bumped out our kitchen. We put in fancy countertops. I said I wouldn't do it, so we did it.
Your wife said so. Yes.
Exactly. And it's something we wanted. Did we get more value for the nicer countertops? Some, but we didn't get the full value. I wanted it because that's what we wanted. Yep. And that's how we have to look at a lot of this stuff in the house. If you're going to buy some of the stuff that you want, it's okay if you lose a little bit. Yep. You're getting out of the tenant situation. You're getting out of whatever the situation is and into something else. Some of that is just usable enjoyment, just like a vacation. And other things are you want to do it for the long-term value. But if you're buying something that you're going to stay in for a while, the markets typically appreciate, and we've been lucky to do very well. And you have principal pay down every month, and it gets better over time. Rent is 100% of interest. I mean, it's just there's no benefit other than it's flexible. Once you're in the house, you kind of need to stay, and that's where we want the budget. We want you to buy not too small, not too big. Buy something that's right for you, and that's different for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that kind of wraps up really what's going on, at least high level, right, of what's going on in the market. Is there anything else?
We can talk about the real estate stuff with NAR and the lawsuits. We want to tell you that just listen to the news and then let it go away, because right now majority of it's just wrong.
Well, nothing's final either. Everything is just, there's a lot of proposals. There's nothing.
There's a lot of hearsay. There's a lot of just look at us, come to our news station and listen to what we have to say. It's just wrong. Like when you hear rates, they're really high, they're really low. They're always delayed. Right. They're looking at something different. They're not looking at the right thing. So don't stress about it. There's always things that are going to change. You just need to talk to professionals who can go through it. You can decide what you want to do, why you want to do it. There's no wrong answer. You just need to be educated and feel comfortable. And if you don't feel educated, we're here for you. You know, we're not real estate agents, but we're dangerous enough to at least bridge the gap. And then we can get you connected to some very good agents that will walk you through it, not push you into something. I mean, just treat you like we treat you. We're not here for you to buy right now. We're here for you to be comfortable. So when the right house is there, now you can pull the trigger. There's a lot of good agents that way, and the news is not portraying that.
Absolutely. So if you guys have questions, give us a shout. You got Charlie's number, my number. Like the video, subscribe. We look forward to talking to you again next month.
Bet. Good to see you.